NERDSoul.
Yeah, late ill kid at OneYoungsta holding it down, bringing that StreetGeek and NERDSoul. What is up, my people? Today, yeah, we have another wonderful episode of Dope, folks. I got two people here, Dan, Chuck Fab from Kid Monster Creations. You know them from Corsairs. They're super cool. Brothers, introduce yourself.
I'm Dan McNeal. I'm the writing half of Kid Monster Creations and co-creator of Corsairs with my partner Charlie Fab.
Cool.
Yep. F. Charles, Goubile, or Fab, whatever you want to call it. But I am the other half of the Kid Monster Creations creative duo. I do mostly the art. Yep, that's it.
All right, so I want to jump into the first question I want to ask because Fab put me up on this one, saying I need to ask you guys about the creation of Kid Monster Creations.
Yeah.
What is that story? What is that journey?
Okay, I got this, Danny. And
Go ahead.
And I'll pass it off to you at the right moment. But
all right.
So, all right. This was like 2008, something like that. I was working for Wesley Snipes with his multimedia studio. Me and a couple of other brothers. I'll leave their names out of it. You know what I'm saying? But Wesley's a public figure, so I was working with Wes doing. It was a great job. It was the best job I had.
I see how you called him Wes too. You know what I'm saying? Just threw that in there.
Yeah. Nino Brown.
Yeah.
No, but anyway. Working with it was dope. I mean, it was a great guy. I mean, he gave us a lot of creative room, you know what I'm saying, but at the same time he did give us input of what he wanted. I was doing stuff like character design, storyboards, various other stuff, illustrations. And he had expressed interest in doing a movie to my first book, Blackbird. And he wanted to do an animated movie like the DC stuff. You know how they do their straight to video, but the movies are dope. So, and it even got to the point where he released a schedule for the company. And I got like the manifest of the talking points of the meeting, and on it, like in page 3 was like, Blackbird animated movie, and it had Jermaine Dupri was attached to it. I'm saying all this now because of like statutes of limitations and stuff like that, but I was hyped. I was extremely hype, as you could imagine. And I know a lot of people, some of the Blackbird fans out there are screaming at their computer right now, like, what? We could have had a movie. But check this out. Calm down, y'all. So anyway, I'm like, all right, I'm a decent writer, but I'm slow. And if this is going to be like an animated movie, I need some help, you know what I'm saying? So I called in the special forces. I called in Daniel McNeal, who we knew through other people. And I already knew he was a dope guy. You even remember, Danny, we discussed, we had other projects that we bounced back and forth off each other, which, but, so anyway, I hit up Dan. Danny's like, I was like, hey, Danny, Wes wants to do Blackbird movie. Danny's like, I got you. Now, Danny started writing this script, right? I knew Danny was good, but he sent me like the first, 2 acts?
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, he's flexing on me right now. I mean, and this is my character, so he's writing stuff with my character. I'm like, man, why didn't I think of that? You know what I'm saying? So I was like, yeah, this is going to be epic. So, fast forward, you all know what happens. Wes gets locked up, you know what I'm saying? And everything pretty much, hits the fan. And so then everybody's kind of scrambling, and I'm looking at Dan, and Dan's like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, and I had a vision in my head. I told Danny this. I had a vision in my head of like, I had a That's So Raven, like, flash forward of Danny being, somebody's going to pick him up. He's too dope of a writer. Somebody's going to snatch him up, and he's going to get away from me, and then I'm not going to be able to afford him. So I had to keep him in house. So I said, hey, Danny, I've been burnt by Hollywood. This is like my third time being burnt by Hollywood. I've done stuff for other people. I just, I don't brag. I keep it on the low. Mm-hmm. So at this time I was like, all right, this is it. It just wasn't meant to be. So I looked at Danny and I was like, let's do it out the trunk. Let's Master P it. You know what I'm saying? Go independent, you and me.
Okay.
You're the writer. I'm the artist. We got a good, synergy going. He was like, all right, cool. I'm with it. What are we going to name ourselves? I have no idea, but I got an idea for a book. He said, what you got? I said, it's about space pirates. He said, that sounds stupid.
I don't know if I said that. I think I laughed.
All right, Danny,
okay.
You can take it from there.
Yeah, so he brings this idea to me about space pirates. So, without divulging how old I am, first thing that popped in my mind was this old sea-level classic movie called Ice Pirates, and I'm like, oh my god, I cannot write about space pirates. But he's like, no, let me explain what it is. So he started breaking it down about classic stories of the have and the have-nots, how you got people who are perceived as the good guy who ultimately aren't the good guys, and the bad guys who are perceived as the bad guys aren't the bad guys, they're really the good guys. And he started fleshing out what would become ultimately LaRue. And he said, well, this is what I want. These are the details that has to be in it. These are no bargain items. But the rest of the stuff, run with it and just bring it back to me to see what I can do. So, with those marching orders, I did exactly what he said. And, there's obviously some volleying back and forth with characters and storylines and backdrops and whatever the case may be. But we were very, very happy to be able to produce what is now known as Corsairs as the first book in our Kid Monster Creations universe, in our world.
And I remember when the working title was Space Pirates.
Oh yeah,
I told Danny, I was like, the title can't have the word space or pirates in it. It's got to be something different. Right. So I remember I'm out with the wife at Red Lobster. I'll never forget. And I get a text with Danny, and wifey kind of looking at me because we on our date or whatever. So I read the text, and Danny's like, I got the name. I'm like, what is it? He said Corsairs. I said, that sounds stupid.
That's a common theme here. We call each other. That's dumb.
Seriously, but this is, I value that feedback.
Yeah.
Danny is, is like my big brother. He'll let me know when he's not feeling something, and I will fight him on stuff too. Like whenever something happens, if we're working on a project, and there is, we push back and forth all the time. But if there's something, and most of the time we're like, okay, that sounds cool. But if there's something that we push back, I'll text. I'll be like, okay, I gotta fight you on this.
Yeah.
But I love that. I love that he keeps it real with me. He doesn't sugarcoat it. He makes me fight for certain stuff that I want. And, going back to the whole Wesley joint, what I'm saying, the testimony is that, God don't make no mistakes, and because of the stuff with Wes and all that hitting the fan with me, something beautiful came out of that, which was Kid Monster Creations. What I'm saying? And I'm forever grateful, for that whole situation. And Kid Monster, it means nothing. Kid Monster Creations, it's like I guess like an answer to J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so to Dan, you hit him up with a text like Corsairs. Yeah. How did you come across Corsairs? Like, how did that, what was the writing process or the thought process where it's like Corsairs?
So one of the techniques or things that I typically do is how to make something ordinary sound amazing. And I'll divulge this little secret, which is not that much of a secret, but literally, if he said, okay, I can't use the word pirates, I'd literally go to the dictionary and say, okay, what other words can I say that doesn't mean pirate? And I look for the coolest one, and I see what it means and understand what it's about. I'll look at the historical context of the word if necessary, because and Chuck will attest to this, I'm always thinking of that fanboy saying, well, Corsairs means so I want to always be prepared for that group of people as well. But it's pretty much that simple. Whether it's an animal character, I look at the species name and try to come up with something with that. Anything that's catchy and it's going to stay on the minds of the person who picks up the book.
All right. So into or from the, I guess, from the perspective of coming into a book and writing like this brand new thing, it's like, hey, I got this idea for Space Pirates.
Right.
Like, all right, cool. Now we got to name Corsairs. All right. So when you're getting into issue 0, one thing that I do like is that you guys make sure that you do a data dump, but it's not forever. It's like one page. Cool. Yeah. You got 2 paragraphs. This is what you need to do. Let's go.
Right.
And, I like how you handle their different attitudes and interpersonal relationships. Are there any relationships or any characters that were hard to handle for either of you, whether drawing or whether writing, where it's like, I don't know if this character fits, maybe we need to drop one, or were there characters like, now we know of, what about like 5 members, or even, behind you, we got 5 members. Were there ever 7 or were there ever 3? And you were like, we need more.
Right. I'll start off on this question. To answer your question, it's probably always been the same 5, but different iterations of characters. And I'll use an example. And Chuck is going to start laughing when I start talking about this. So the character, which is now known as Suma, actually started off as a female character. And we had this ridiculous, I had this ridiculous name because I used the scientific term for tigers. It was like Felidae something. So I had nicknamed her Fifi. And we had some initial drawings of her, and Chuck was, in his frankness, this is trash. He's like, this is absolutely it's not working, D. You got to take this back to the lab. So I did what he said, and then I was able to do so. I'm so sorry about the fires.
No, they trying to stop us. Don't worry about that.
But there's been different iterations, different mock-ups and drafts of different characters where we tweak things. I've said something, he said something, and then we kind of put pen to paper and made these final versions. To go to your earlier point about how we don't hit you with all this information in the beginning, I think one of the things that both Chuck and I immediately had an agreement on was we always look at it from the lens of us reading it or watching it, and you don't want to lead a snooze fest in the beginning. You want to be able to have the ability to catch the person, the reader, the viewer right from the start and have them invested at that point, and then kind of back in all of the necessary information to keep the story going.
Yeah, right. And to jump off of what Danny said, as far as like characters, hands down the most difficult character, and Danny, you could attest to this, is LaRue. Yeah, she went through so many different changes visually, and because there was a lot. I mean, LaRue came about, the idea of LaRue, and the reason why I wanted to have a female lead is because of the reaction that people had with Shantae from Blackbird. And Shantae, she was like the love interest of Antoine, like basically like his Mary Jane. And she became more popular than Blackbird, really. I had people coming up to me asking for more pictures or sketches of her than a Blackbird, and a couple of creeps wanted me to draw some lewd stuff, but I'm like, hey, she's in high school, y'all know that, right? But anyway,
it's like,
and I'm like, y'all realize this is but anyway, I never forget this one. This one little girl comes up to my book signing, and she's quoting the book and everything, which kind of had like a little Denzel tear. What I'm saying? I'm like, oh, she's like a fan. Right. But just going back to the reaction that Shantae had, I knew that my next project, I wanted to have a female lead, because I see this kind of putting Shantae up front, and which turned into LaRue, and again. We were trying to put everything into her, what I'm saying, as far as like, I wanted to pay tribute to like, my French Creole roots, So there was this idea of her having some kind of French Creole heritage, which hence the name LaRue that Danny came up with.
Okay.
She went through many different variations because we knew we had to get it right, you know what I'm saying? Because you know the world's going to be watching, and you know we wanted to represent the sisters as good as possible. And as far as now LaRue, like going back like to the the LaRue's skin color, right? Now you know she's a light-skinned black woman. The reason is because originally growing up, if you look at all of our favorite comic book characters of color, of black people, they're all the same brown. Bishop, Storm, you know, T'Challa, they're all brown, right?
Storm, they be taking mad liberties with a whole girl. Though.
Yeah.
Like, you be like, especially in House of X and Dawn of X.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the story, but I was like, is she black or not? Because there was a couple times where I'm like, what are y'all doing with her color?
Right.
Yeah, but then again, I don't. That's the mainstream, and I don't look to them to represent us. You know, that's not their job. That's our job. So that's why you know what I'm saying. Shantae was light skinned and Blackbird because there was no light. And now when it comes to the movies, everyone's light skinned. You know what I'm saying. But in the books, they were all brown skinned. So I wanted to
had the same color palette.
Yeah. Black person. Let me pull out my black person color. There you go.
Throw on the brown.
Yeah, exactly. Brown and brown. So I put variations of that. And now with LaRue, with her being light skinned again, she was supposed to be like a kind of a Creole, Creole heritage. But I was having trouble with just her look, and I was. She was supposed to resemble Journey Smollett, which she's a beautiful woman, but I just could not capture her likeness for nothing. You know, what I'm saying, you know, God, I couldn't recreate God's work. So anyway, at one point she was going to be a dark skin or a brown skin. I was even looking at like a Lauryn Hill. To talk to my wife, I asked my wife, you know, who's a subject matter expert, and she was like, you know, no, keep her light skinned. I'm like, are you sure? Because people might feel some kind of way. She was like, no, because she said, and she's a light skinned woman herself. She said, I love my dark skinned sisters, but you know, they always get to be, you know, the warrior class, right? Like Grace Jones, we love Grace Jones, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, she was like, it's always the darker skinned women are always the warrior class, and like the light skinned women are always like the victims, always helpless and stuff like that. I never looked at it like that. So I was like, okay, and you know, because I thought we was going to get some pushback, like why she got to be light skinned. But when I tell people, like we thought about all of this, everything that you want to come at us with, we already know. You know what I'm saying? So and of course, you know, down the line you're gonna see all kind of you know what I'm saying, various colors and races and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, LaRue was very tough. Sorry, I just keep talking. I didn't mean to steal the
No, you're good.
You're good.
You're good. I want to talk about issue 0 for a second. And that's the only issue that's in color, at least that I know of. But one thing that I like about all of these panels is, and this might come from your storyboarding work or whatever, but some comic books, I don't know if the adjective or the term would be look comic booky. It's like, this is a comic book. But the way you represent the actual angles and the setup of your shots look very animated and cinematic.
Thank you.
Was that particularly an idea that you wanted to go forward with? Or was that something that just happened because it's like muscle memory? Because when I started to read it, even like when you first open up, when you go to the deck of the ship, or not the deck, but you know, the bridge of the ship, when you go to the bridge, all of these shots look like they're kind of like taken from like television or taken from a movie and just like kind of put there. And that helped me with engaging with the story more. Is that something that you kind of initially thought, okay, I have to do it this way, or if I do it this way, it'll be more engaging? Or was it just something that like, oh, this is kind of how I draw already?
It's just how I'm a movie head. I love movies, even more than comic books. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm always reverse engineering, some of my favorite directors, J.J. Abrams, Michael Bay, Christopher Nolan, just shots, saturation, stuff like that.
Okay.
So that automatically, in my mind, that's how I see it. In my mind, when I'm envisioning something, I put myself in a movie theater, like in the IMAX, and I watch my idea, like in my head, and I can see the lens flares. I see, the special effects, all this is going on in my head. Now, so when putting that on paper or, digital, whatever, I try to just capture as much of that magic as possible. Usually going towards like an anime kind of route, because anime is hand drawn, but it's still cinematic. You still get, the rim lighting, you still get your lens flares, your dramatic close-ups, saturation, desaturation. So yeah, I just reverse engineer, some of your favorite Hollywood. I want it to be it's a blockbuster. That's what Corsairs is. It's a summertime blockbuster. So we set out to do the impossible. We set out to make.
I'm ready to see that joint though. I'm just saying.
I've been told by.
Just saying, there's a character. You know what I mean? I don't really grow all this out real big, but I'm just saying, there's a character that I can assist with.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm that tall, but I'm just saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, I put everybody.
I put bang bang. You know what I'm saying?
I put all my friends in my book in one way or another. You'll be in there. You'll be in the book. Trust me.
Right.
That's too easy. But yeah, I just try to make it just that cinematic eye. That's just how I roll. I try to make it as cinematic as possible.
Yeah.
We're making a blockbuster. We set out to do the impossible. We set out to make a AAA quality book. You know what I'm saying? Popcorn action summer blockbuster with no money. That's literally what we're trying to do, right, Dan?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Man, you guys killed it, and I
you.
enjoy these books. So, to Dan, how is the scripting process, or is it one of those things where it's like, okay, LaRue walks into the room and she's mad, and just Chuck draw whatever you want, or is it a very specific layout of, attitudes, facial expressions, and things like that, or is this something that you guys bounce off back and forth about each other? Is it like, Chuck might say, hey, on page 4, I want to do this.
Right.
How do I do this? And then, how is that scripting and writing process handled between you guys?
Oh, I'm glad you asked this question. So typically the process between Chuck and I will follow like this. I will always start off literally with a mini dictionary, a mini booklet of descriptions of every character, from their name, where they're from, color, height, disposition, powers, weapons, everything. Right. From that point, I then pass it off to Chuck. Chuck will then give me some mock-ups of each of the characters. And in my room, I literally post all the pictures up, all on my room. I have them all in there. And then I'm sitting in front of my computer, and I have the story already fleshed out in my head of what I would like to do, and then I start writing. And similar to Chuck's process of wanting to have this movie feel, I'm literally writing and talking in the character's voice. I'm talking like Cop. I'm angry like Suma. I'm thinking like LaRue. And I write a script in a way where it's probably very dense with descriptions. But the reason why I do that is because I want Chuck to treat the script similar to that of a Las Vegas buffet. He may not want the Jell-O, but he wants the turkey slices. He'll pick and choose the best things that he wants.
So you give him the most information, so that he can know how to chisel it down to what works for him.
And then also with that chisel process, also real quick, sometimes I'll paint the movie in his head, and then he'll like, oh, okay, I get where he's going. This is how it would work in a comic book in 6 panels. And he'll apply his skill sets and his expertise on that as well. But I don't dictate Chuck's art. I want it to be organic, and I want it to be fluid. And 9 times out of 10, he's right on point.
Nice. Ooh, going on to the other issues. I have for me, I have issue 1 and 2, and the art switches to kind of like a noir black and white style. This is a black and white comic, but there's instances that are still very engaging. Most importantly, issue number 1, page 5. There's a shot where you got LaRue and they're like in a room full of people. It's like employees over there like at a bar. And even though there's no color there, the feeling of like a crowded, packed place still works. To Fab, did you know that you were on like Sean Martin Bros level, or did, or did that just happen? Did you just happen upon that? But nah, seriously, on this page, you do a good job of representing their attitudes and the temperature of the room with just black and white. That's it. There's not even many grays in there. There's a couple like cross-hatching, shading, but you do a very good job of making something that would look like a hindrance or maybe a handicap even. We're like, hey, there's no color here, but you're able to still, I guess, keep that energy and keep that kind of endearing and engaging quality. Is it harder to do it in black and white and kind of convey that same emotion, or is it easier for you?
Well, the reason that the prologue was full color and the single issues are all black and white, the reason for that is simply time, because Danny didn't want to keep, well, me and Danny, we didn't want to keep everybody waiting. This book is already a decade in the making. So Danny is always hitting the con. He's the face of Kid Monster, you know what I'm saying? So, he puts on a little muscle shirt and he goes out and
you got jokes.
I love you, brother. I love you. No, but it was black and white because, Danny, he's hitting the cons and he needs content, right? Danny gauges, what people are how people are reacting to the book. And he's like, they're loving it, but, they're getting tired of waiting. The reason the prologue is full color is because the prologue was supposed to hold people over initially, and then while we complete the whole graphic novel, right? 100 plus pages.
Okay.
So that's why the prologue is the way it is. And we're like, okay, now this should hold people over until while we finish the rest of the book, which started getting longer and longer and longer. And Danny's like, hey, we need something. So I was like, well, I could put out the black, just the lines, basically. I'm still drawing it to be colored. I'm just not coloring it. And the good thing about me is that my line work does a lot of the heavy lifting, right? So that's why I'm able to a certain effect, was comfortable releasing it with just the line work. And still be able to, somewhat confident in getting the story across. Now, I am currently coloring, all of it, as we speak. I think I'm on page 90. I'm on 90 something out of 123, which I'm close.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I love the way that people are reacted to the graphic novel that's out now, that's just a black and white one. But when you guys see the full colors and you see the lens flares and the rim lighting and the blues and the yellows, just trust Danny. How's it looking? I send you a page a week.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
Yeah, and then this is how it was supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? But we just released it the way it was because Danny needed content. But Danny, says moving forward, everything's going to be in color.
Yeah,
we got a very active year coming up, and we've made moves to streamline the production process and get more out to people, more content out to people with a faster turnaround, but still keep the quality that people like. So, you're not going to have to wait 10 years for the next book. I'll put it like that.
Cool. And that brings me to my next question.
Okay.
What's coming from Kid Monster Creations?
Go ahead, Danny.
Whether it's Blackbird, whether it's Corsairs, you know, what's on the way?
Okay, so I'll give you a couple of nuggets. There is a fantasy-based book that is coming out that I unfortunately can't talk about right now.
Okay, cool. Understood.
Yeah,
want to keep it a little low.
Well, in addition, there's some interest in parties, so we have to keep that on the low for right now. But the one that we can speak about is a new book that is coming out.
You gonna do that? You gonna do that?
Okay, I'll wait. I'll wait.
No, go ahead. I don't care. Go ahead.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Well, one of the other
monster.
No, one of the other stories. Right. One of the other we're also working on is one that's called Stingblade, which is going to be heavy in the tech world. Another female-led book. Speaks to a lot of things that's going on right now, like we do with Corsairs, and I think it's going to be actually very insightful on a lot of different things. Unlike Corsairs, where it's a group of characters, this is going to be a solo character-led book that really goes into further depth of what the character's about, what the characters face with, in addition to adversaries that they're fighting and all that other good stuff. So there are two major products that's on the books right now that are being cooked up, but the most immediate thing is the color version of the Corsairs graphic novel, which at that point we're going to put Corsairs a little bit on pause because we know that there's a bunch of other stories that we want to tell, and we want other people to understand that there's a diversity of stories that we do want to tell.
Nice. Yeah. And with that said, go ahead.
No, I was just getting ready to say that's the first time that's ever been talked about publicly. So you got an exclusive.
Sorry.
That's right, yo. Yeah, NERDSoul be bringing them exclusives, y'all. You know what I'm saying?
Seriously. But no, I gave Sting. Well, this is what happened with Stingblade is I had another idea, like a childhood dream that I was sitting on, right, and I pitched it to Danny, and Danny was like, "Yeah, cool, we could do it." And then I thought, I was like, you know what, Danny, he's been wanting to do a superhero project for the longest time, and I just don't do superheroes. You know what I'm saying? I don't, no capes. You know what I'm saying? I love them. I love X-Men. You know what I'm saying? But I just could never. It's been done to death, right? And they're, so. But Danny, he wanted to do a speedster, right? You know what I'm saying? Okay. And we could never come to any kind of thing that we both agreed on. We just constantly, shooting back and forth. So since Danny was such a great sport on everything, pretty much I pitched to him. I was like, you know what? Let me see if I could, pitch him his dream project. You know what I'm saying? So I pitched him Stingblade, and he just took off running. No pun intended. Took off running with it. So Stingblade is dope. It's very different. Some in-house stuff. Kid Monster has, and as of now, 3 universes. We have the Flux universe, which is the Corsairs universe, which is the future space, and we have the fantasy universe, and now we have a superhero universe. So the plan is, as we move on, just bounce back and forth between each of these universes, telling different stories to keep us from being stale and telling the same stuff over and over and over again. But Sting is going to be dope. It's going to be, Danny is, man.
Thank you.
Cool. Yeah. So speaking of that, Kid Monsters in general, Corsairs, Blackbird, and then the future projects, where can they find that at?
Yeah, Blackbird is not Kid Monster. No, Blackbird is still Fabulous. It's still Fabutainment, which I gotta change that. I gotta change that name now because somebody else grabbed it. But anyway, but you're saying, Mike. I'm sorry, brother.
But yeah, where can they find your work at?
Oh, as far as artwork or actual
Artwork and the books.
Okay, well, as far as artwork, this is on ArtStation, NewFabCity, on ArtStation. Kid Monster, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Kid Monster Creations, all one word. Right now, those are the best places to hit us up. The books are available. The current Corsairs books are available at indieplanet.com for now. When the special edition graphic novel comes out, we're going to try to expand, our publications and look at other outlets. But right now, Indie Planet is the best place to get all of our stuff.
Great. All right, then I have one last question.
Sure.
The ship in Corsairs. It is very well. Not only our hero ship, like kind of like the Hammerhead or whatever. The ships in general are very unique. And I mean, there's tons of you have like Battlestar Galactica, you have Star Wars, Star Trek, you got Andromeda. There's tons of different ways to do spaceships. And even the way you handle, like, I guess the what is it, like the Imperial Embassy or whatever? I can't remember the name. But it's like very imposing. Like at first you would be like, oh, this is just like a stick. Like it's just a stick floating in the, but it finds a way to look imposing the way you present it. What's the process of you kind of like creating ships, whether it's from Dan's side or Chuck's side? Is it like, the world is our oyster? Because the hero ship is very unique, and even kind of the way you built other ships find a way to be like generally imposing and kind of scary.
Yeah, that was. I guess I could take that, Dan.
Yep.
With the ships, we had to design a whole lot of stuff with Corsairs. From the ground up, from spaceships to clothing, cultures, military structures, governments. Corsairs really was going back to its inception, was really inspired by the Somalian pirate situation that was going on at the time. And to tell you the truth, I was just amazed at, wait, there's still pirates? I'm like, in the 21st century, like, how desperate do things have to be for you, you and your homies go out on the boat, like, oh, yeah, we pirates now. All right, let's do it. Like, what? And then, I started doing investigative, research. I watch nothing but documentaries. I rarely watch any scripted, anything scripted. Most of the stuff I watch is documentaries. So going back to how that entails the ship design with the pirates of Corsairs, they're from poverty-stricken colonies. So they take what was left of the colony wars and just scraps, right? And just put stuff together. And the reason the pirate ships look imposing and menacing that's on purpose. It's like a psyop. They want to, instill dread. That's why the actual Hammerhead has like teeth near the air intake. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not functional. It's purely just to scare colonial ships when this thing is coming out of flux drive at you with little, teeth and tiger stripes and stuff. And that's why and each of the pirate ships are named after sharks. You got the Hammerhead or sharks or predatory fish. You got the Hammerhead, you got the Mako, the Barracuda. And then on the opposite end, the colonial ships, everything looks like it was made by Apple. It's like white, streamlined, very crispy. You know what I'm saying? And the French colony pirates, their ships are like, metal, like rusted metal. There's all kind of illegal parts on it. You know what I'm saying? Like growing up, I was a typical boy growing up. I love fighter jets, ninjas, and dinosaurs. So, I used to collect like, F-14 Tomcats and models and stuff like that. So that's, the inner geek in me, the military geek, making these ships and having them look janky, you know what I'm saying? But I'm glad that you noticed that, you know what I'm saying? Because we did put a lot of, and I said me and Dan, we both, what you see is the combination of both of us, working together.
All right, and then one last for Dan.
Okay.
You have 5 main characters.
Yes.
As well as like side villains and stuff. Most writers put a piece of themselves into the story. What part of you is inside of Corsairs?
Oh wow, that's a really good question. If I had to pick 1 or 2 characters, I probably would have to say Koth. I definitely think there's a little bit of me in Koth. That's one of the main characters. And the reason why I say that because very methodical, plotting, broad, strategic, looking at the whole situation, surveying it, and then also Kindle, because I do like Kindle's mindset of duty, honor. These are the rules, and then all of a sudden having all of that thrown out the window, and you have to learn hook or crook on how to survive in this new world with no rules.
Yeah.
And I think those 2 characters are the ones that when I was writing that I can relate the most to.
And if you don't mind.
Oh no, go ahead.
I didn't even realize this. I told Danny this, but really, like Corsairs, it's just swashbuckling pirates. And you know what? The people that don't know, Corsairs is about a group of pirates from poverty-stricken colonies who are forced to rob and steal for their own survival. And we follow a military intelligence officer by the name of Kendall, who goes undercover to infiltrate the pirate scene. And then stuff gets kind of blurred. Basically, there is a love story in it. He meets a girl, and he starts questioning everything he knows. And it was me long after the book is written, and and I'm sitting here coloring. I'm like, you know what? This is the story of how I met my wife.
Oh wow!
A military guy, falls in love with a girl from the wrong side of the tracks, and or a girl from a bad neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? And changes his life forever. Love you, baby.
I didn't know that. Huh.
It's nice.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
More behind the scenes detail.
Yeah.
Definitely. So, personally, Dan, where can people find you online?
Most of my stuff is at the same places that Chuck mentioned, Kid Monster Creations. People usually reach out to me directly via Facebook. That's the fastest way to do it. Other than that, that's pretty much it. I'm pretty responsive, and all of our information is typically in our books in terms of our social media presence and things like that.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. And Chuck, for you?
I'm a recluse, all my stuff is pretty much private. Just follow Kid Monster or Art Station. That's if you want to follow all my art stuff. I post Kid Monster stuff there. Yeah, Kid Monster stuff there. Other people's commissions, whatever. That's the best place to follow my artwork.
Yeah, because it's cool, and I'm excited to see what comes next from you guys. But I would like to say thank you guys for your time, for coming through. For everyone watching, you are seeing 3 time zones converge together to make this happen.
Yes.
But this is long overdue. Long overdue. I've enjoyed the book for quite some time now, and I've been a fan of the work for a minute. So it was high time that this happened.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, Mike. You've had our back since day one. You always. Because I was I remember hitting Mike up. I'm like, man, this guy, he's like on Movie Talk, man. He ain't gonna be paying attention to me.
Right.
He's like responding. I'm like, oh, okay, so he's cool. So we love you, Mike. You were definitely part of the Monster Squad. So we love you.
Word up. Well, guys, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for checking this out. Go get a nice, fresh copy. Go get a copy of Corsairs now. Then when the full color version go get it again, because then it'll be like having your own both versions. You'll have it'll be like Logan black and white and Logan the color version. You'll have both of them. But check out those links below. Holla at us. We'll holla at you in the comments. Let's talk Corsairs. Let's talk Kid Monster Creations. Let's talk about Wesley Snipes and the movies that could have been. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to the big homie Wes. I love you, man.
Yo, Wesley Snipes, hey, remember that $500 million you owe me? I'll give you a discount.
Yeah.
No, but guys, thank you for tuning in. Much love to y'all. Can't wait to see y'all sunshiny faces next time. And from us to you, we're just saying peace.
Be safe,
Peace.
y'all.
Deuces.